Now then, people, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I hope you're all doing well. I can't lie to you. I only got up at like 12:30, man. I've been absolutely exhausted, both physically and mentally of late. But we got up and then we've just had the press conference. We're going to get stuck into that and the main key call-outs from that as well. It was long, it was in depth, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Before I do, though, I just want to shout out Helen. Helen, who is a regular watcher of this show, a regular person I connect with on social media, and a lot of you will have as well. Her dad sadly passed away. I think it was yesterday. She'd been speaking to me a bit about that, obviously, because I've gone through similar things in recent times. And I just wanted to, she's known as Hells Bells 92. I think a lot of you will have had interactions with her. She's in our chat a hell of a lot. And she connects with a lot of creators across social media as well. So I just wanted to say, thoughts are with her and her family, and if we can all pull together when we do have interactions with her. There she is. Look, she's in the chat. She's one of the members. There you go. Thoughts are with you, Helen, and thank you as always for supporting the channel. And being a great part of this community that we have. So thoughts to you, Helen. I also want to shout out Ella Templeton and her mum. She reached out to me the other day. Her mum's been making some lovely Leeds United wreaths and wanted to send me one. I totally forgot about the interaction just the other day. And I got a knock on the door from the postman. I was like, what's this? And then this lovely thing came, which put a smile on my face this morning. Christmas soon be here. So yeah, lovely. And if you would like to maybe acquire one of these, you can reach out to Ella Templeton on Instagram, Ella Temp 1234. And maybe a mum can sort you one out as well. I think it's beautiful. So big up to Ella. And her mum and her dad, who watches regularly, for sending that over as well. So big up. So thank you for that. All love. And I hope you all have a great day. I can't lie, I'm still absolutely knackered. It's kicked my ass this past week or two. So yeah, back to watching The Witcher, I think, after. The neighbour's got a new motorbike and he's always revving it. I don't know if you can hear that. It's fucking a bit of a nuisance, but hey. Please support the channel, smash a like on the video, subscribe to it, get your comments in, hit the notification bell and all that jazz. Big up to James Gibson, been a member now for 17 months, says, hi Joe, great to catch you live, as it's rare for me. Glad to see you caught yourself in your spiral and sought the help needed. Thank you very much, mate. Had a lovely meeting yesterday. Over in Seam. There you go. Helen says, my dad is the reason I support Leeds and I'm forever thankful and grateful. There you go. So our thoughts are with Mr. Walker and Helen at this time, and thank you for always being a great part of the community. I don't know if you can actually hear the bike, but it is revving. I don't think you'll probably be able to pick it up from this mic, but hey ho. But Farke got into many things. We touched briefly on January. We touched on the squad makeup, its lack of maybe chance creation and defensive frailties, tactics. There was a lot in there. Yeah, so we'll see how that develops. I can do that for you, Ryan. Not a problem. Look, you know where my head's at the minute. I know there's not a lot within the space that agree with me, but the manager has my full backing. I think there's some that maybe have had enough now, and aren't feeling the manager. There's some that are on the fence, but me, I'm pretty much front and center, still supporting him. So we'll see, and I'll give you my thoughts and reasons as to why. I know there's some that aren't quite there and haven't been for a while, or yeah. I was having a chat with Joe this morning. I think Joe's done a video maybe looking at different aspects of this, of different creators and where their head is at, and analysing that. So I'm excited to see what that comes out as. We might have to do a little response video myself, depending on how nice he is to me. But we'll see. We will see. Big up to Reese P. Says, call me crazy, but go 4-4-2, Metro and Puro up top. Score some goals. Genuinely feel like we need something different, and Puro will score goals. He will score goals if getting into the right areas. I do agree with you. It's whether or not we can get him into the right areas. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, we know he's a major doubt. He's a major doubt for this game, and we'll get into it. Which, for me, throws up all sorts of problems because we're a better side with him in it. But again, he hasn't been scoring the goals. I put that a lot. I don't even know. It sounds stupid, doesn't it, to say I'm not sure the striker is in the team to score goals, but he needs to get people in and around him. And that was a question that was posed to him today, actually, on whether or not, there is enough people, enough of our team getting in and around him on a regular basis to help create the chances or score the goals. Jason Taylor says, big up Helen. Thank you so much for your support. You didn't need to do that. We're here. Jason says the chat in the presser was quite bad. Lots saying he needs to go, but who do we turn to? To be honest, I don't read the chat on the presser because I can imagine what it's like. But it's always the case. The vocal minority are always the loudest. All right, that's tends to be the case. Great to hear Willie is growing. It is. It's always a good thing, especially if you've struggled with it, and then it starts to work again. It's good. He did say he's been back in team training. Big up to Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. He's been back in team training. You can see him growing each and every day. He's available for selection. We'll see if it's enough for him to be involved in this game or 100% after the break. I think it's more likely that we'll tend to see him probably after. After the break. Lockie and Andreas Nuvid dismisses the idea that there are enough people around him. Yeah, that's something that needs to change. I haven't watched the video, but I can imagine it's in depth. But we'll talk about it. So striker is not the here. I know it sounds daft, doesn't it, Indian Joe? As I'm saying it, I get it, I hear it, but is he more of a facilitator? Yeah, Vega, exactly. It's bipolar chat, bipolar Joe. We have ups and downs. It is what it is. But let's talk about what was specifically discussed in the presser. If you haven't already, smash a like on this video. And please do subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in and, of course, hit the notification bell. So Farke, he says, look, we can't interpretate too much. Brighton could qualify for Europe. Speaking specifically on the last game, it's just another opportunity to win points now. We're at Nottingham, and it's always a difficult fixture for us. I can't remember the last time we won there. I think we won there the season we went down, actually, because I said that's Forest done now. We're going to stay up, and we know how that worked out. But over the years, especially in the Championship, I don't have too many fond memories of us going to the City Ground. I think the City Ground in general is a tough place for any team to go. Of course, they haven't been great this season, but I still think that is a difficult place to go. And you probably need 9 wins to stay up, was Farke's rhetoric. I think you need 10, but 9 wins is what he's saying. We have 3. So he's not hiding from the fact that we need more. We need 9 or 10 draws, he believes, to get us them extra points. For me, get 10 wins and we'll see where we're at. That means 7 wins are needed. But look, what I will say for that is away from home wins are very, very difficult to come by, as I shown the other day, which I think is what Joe's going to go through and analyse. And from what he told me this morning, is obviously the away wins are hard to come by. It's not up until 7th in the table for away form that you get 2 wins, and that's Liverpool. But other than that, it's 1 win. It could be even better. We could have had 4 points on the road had Fulham been a draw, which, to be honest, we deserved. And obviously, it bounced off Goodmanson's head, and we lose the game 1-0 and give Fulham their first win. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. It was unlucky. If we can try keep it cordial in the chat, please, folks, and let's not fall out with each other. We all have our own opinions, of course. But yeah, let's try keep it sweet. He was asked about transfers, because he said, Christmas soon round the corner. I look at the lovely wreath we have here. Christmas is soon come, and people talk about presents and all this sort of stuff. But for us, of course, it's about the January transfer window. After this international break for content creators, it doesn't half ramp up. It doesn't half get very, very busy. And it's exciting as well, because we have the January transfer window to look forward to. I think for us, if we're outside of the relegation zone for the January transfer window, it's absolutely huge. It's a positive start to the season, considering the squad that we have. But that is just my opinion. Again, I'm yawning. I got up at 12:30. I've had more than 12 hours sleep. I don't know how I do know how I'm still tired. I do know how I'm still tired, but yeah. Yeah, one day at a time and all that jazz. So he said, look, we have been thinking about it. Would not speak about it. I'm not going to waste my energy speaking about, the January transfer window now, because there are so many games coming up. So he has nothing to tell us about right now in terms of the January transfer window, which, to be honest, the managers always remain tight-lipped on that. If we have a look at how many games we play between now and January, so 3 in November, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 games. 8 games we will play. 8 games we will play up to January the 1st. So there's a hell of a lot of football to play between now and then, to be even thinking about that. And look, and I've maintained, if we're outside the relegation zone by the January transfer window, the manager's done a fantastic result. During that time, we'll be away at Forest, at home to Villa, away at City, home to Chelsea, home to Liverpool, away at Brentford, home to Palace, and away to Sunderland. That is, as fixtures go, very, very difficult. Sunderland, one of the best home form teams and one of the best informed teams in the league. Palace are a great side under Glasner. Brentford, they're going to be down there. They've had some great results at the G-Tech Stadium, so that's going to be tough. We know how tough Liverpool and Chelsea is going to be, just because of the level of quality of players. To go away to City, especially with the form Haaland's in, you can write that one off. Villa at home, Villa have turned a corner, and then we've got Forest away, which for me, City ground, regardless of form, especially for Leeds United, where there's a little bit of needle there, it's going to be a rock hard place to go. You could easily make an argument that we don't get any points. I don't think that'll happen. But if you were to look at it and say, right, okay, is there an argument you couldn't get any? There is, right? Joe, you're Irish, lad. I'm not Irish, no. No. I think there is some in there, my dad. But yeah. I'm not Irish. Member for 39 months, Lucy M. You're an absolute saint. Thank you very much. So yeah, look, at the end of the day, the fixtures are going to be tough, and if the manager has us outside of the relegation zone come January the 1st, which is in 8 games' time, I believe I just said, it's massive. It's absolutely massive. So I think the fact that we're not in the relegation zone already is already a massive win. But yeah, so the manager says 9 wins. I still think, I'm still aiming for 10. That means 7 more wins. They're going to be hard to come by. People, when I've been mentioning this, but where they're going to come from, and that's the reality with which we're faced in the Premier League. This is what happens when you're in the Premier League. It's a stark reality. Brendan Rodgers, not for me any Reese P. I don't think his star is as bright as it once was, but I do believe it's something that if a manager change was to happen, I think they would look at, because they wanted him when we were in the Championship. But again, I am so sorry for still being tired. I'll still come back to it. Is I'm not sure I have enough faith in the 49ers in their managerial choices or acquisitions, because we saw what kind of the debacle they had at Rangers. They wanted Gerrard. They tried to get him twice, failed. They wanted to get, was it Muscat? Couldn't get him. They've ended up getting Danny Roll, who was, further down the pecking order than what they wanted. So there is a lot. Brian Scally says, I agree with what you say, Joe. However, if we are in the relegation zone by January, we may need to change Farke. The biggest thing is that we don't lose ground on the teams above us if we are. Yeah, of course, we've got to remain within touching distance. I'm a supporter of the manager. That doesn't mean I'll support him till, till the very end. And some might say that's not Liam Rosenior. I don't know why we're mentioning Liam Rosenior. Liam Rosenior failed at Hull. He's very lucky with the job that he's got at Strasbourg or wherever it is, Blue Co. I forget the name. I think it's Strasbourg. He didn't do well at Hull, all things considered. So yeah. Anyway, transfers in January we touched on. He's not going to speak about them right now. Again, Pat, have you seen where Valencia are in the table? They're in the relegation zone. So people just say things sometimes without actually knowing or understanding where things are. If you actually have a look at La Liga, let's have a look. You will see that, and I will share it with you just so you are aware. Valencia are 18th. They haven't won in the last, well, that's 5, isn't it? Is it 5 or 6 games? Yeah, they have 9 points. They've conceded 20 goals and scored 10. So yeah, only have 2 wins. So you would argue with a better side, they're actually doing worse than what we are. So I'm not sure if Corberan's the right man for the job. But again, people will just say things, as I say, like Liam Rosenior. When in actual fact, if you were to look at Liam Rosenior, you would see that with the whole side that he had, for him not to get top 6, it wasn't great. Hence why he was sacked. And well, if you know, then why suggest, Pat? I don't think Corberan's the right man for the job. Do you? If he only has 2 wins on the board and he's in the relegation zone at Valencia. So I'm not too sure if that is the right man for the job. But hey ho. So on the squad, he said with regards to Calvert-Lewin, it's an adductor strain. It'll be a tight race. It's going to be a late call. He's currently doing rehab, and we have a couple more days for him to make a late decision on Calvert-Lewin. He won't risk him. Yeah, I think we might have to play with Metra and see how that develops. I've said on this channel, probably without enough game time of him in a Leeds shirt, to say that I don't think he's the man. Some will say that, well, you've gone a little bit early on that, Joe, considering that you haven't seen enough of him, but it's just my opinion. So I'm not sure I'd be confident if Metra is leading the line, but hey. Question mark against Bornau. Again, a waste of 5 million. All of us are fine. Nonto has been out for quite a long time. He's back in team training now for 2 weeks. He's been growing. He is back available for selection. It's not a risk, and there's a chance he could be picked. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he slots straight in. I have a feeling, though, that he won't start with Nonto. We're more likely to see him off the bench. On the attack, he says, when I think about our last couple of games, we scored 2 goals versus West Ham. Probably should have had more. Even at Brighton, we were brave. I don't remember much of it, but I don't remember much bravery, to be honest. We got a bit of a slapping. He said, we've missed big chances. Feel like we could have created more chances as well. We were not at our best versus Brighton, but sometimes that happens over 38 games. And I have to agree with that. And that's why I won't lose my head over it. And I've continued to maintain that fact in that, Brighton on the day were just better than us and have better players. And that can happen in the Premier League. I will not lose my head over it. If that was to happen week in, week out, which it hasn't up to this point, then of course I would have concerns. Some people already have concerns, and they may be right. But for me, it's to be expected. Well, Leeds United, we've just come into the division. We don't have the best squad. We don't have the best personnel. And some teams are better than us. Of course, yeah, Stevie, 2 shots on target. Of course, every manager gives a bit of spin. Sometimes they just say words for the sake of saying words. Must-win game this weekend. Now, for us fans, of course, we will say, I don't think it's a must-win game. We need a point, though, at least. But again, when you play 38 times, it's it's hard. It's hard to at the time you'll say, oh, this is a must win, and then if we don't get a win here, we're done for. But then you might get a surprise shock win against Villa or City even, and then it's like, oh my god. So I get where the manager's coming from, and it's up to him as the captain of the ship, the one that steers the ship, to keep things level-headed. That if we don't get a win, it's like, well, it's all right, boys, because we can get one in another area. But I get fans and the fandom saying, well, actually, I'm not sure I agree. We need to win this. But game day 11, I'm asked for the 7th time now, is it a must-win game? We have said it a lot already. I know I've already said it. The Burnley was a must-win. The West Ham was a must-win. The Wolves was a must-win. And we hadn't even played 10 games by that point. So I have to agree with him there. And he says, I can give you the same answer. What we want is a point average of 1 per game. And we're trending ahead of that. We've played 10. We've got 11 points. If we win tomorrow, on Sunday, we've got a little bit of breathing space as well, As the manager says, where it comes from, I don't mind. I'm not going to interpret it each individual game. He did say, of course, when you get to game 38, if you need to win to stay up, then it's different. But, yeah. Maybe not, Louis. Again, you're right. And I feel that performances need to, performances need to improve, definitely. I think your neighbour is compensating for something. Well, by just revving his motorbike. Yeah, if it's not motorbike, it's a car. Sets a target of 9 wins, and being a third of the way there it's achievable. The squad should feel that's achievable. Staying up sounds tough. 6 wins needed sounds doable, but the latter brings the former. Yeah, and I think for me it's 10. But I hear you, Scott, setting a target, and we're well on the way for that, aren't we? He was asked about performances. Of course, you haven't got points as such on the road, but what about performances? Are you happy with that? Of course, it's tougher away from home in the Premier League. We saw that the other day when we had a look at the league table for away form. The manager said he was happy with performances. Apart from Brighton and Arsenal, I think I'd have to agree with him. I thought we played well at Fulham. Where else have we gone away? Everton and Newcastle was at home. Spurs was at home. Wolves, obviously, we got a win at Wolves. That's a huge result, really. So performances, yes, not points, but we've shown we can be competitive. I agree. In previous years, some had to wait for their first win. Versus Brighton, we could have been so much better. But he did admit that I haven't seen a perfect game from us so far. Who would you say, or which performance has been the best? I'd have to say Everton, probably. No, but then again, we didn't fucking score from open play, did we? Where would you say has been our best performance of the season? Well, Paul, Calvert-Lewin might not need to be dropped. He might be missing anyway due to an injury, due to an adductor injury. Bournemouth, Brett. Yeah, sorry, Bournemouth at home, and we drew that. Wolves, yeah, as well, where we won comfortably. West Ham first half, yeah, probably. Nottingham Forest challenge then. Again, I'll keep maintaining that this is going to be a tough game for us because it's a tough place to go. He said they've got really good quality. They were able to qualify for Europe. I know, and I think sometimes we'll probably look at the league table and forget that. There has been a lot of upheaval there. They started with Nuno, got them Europe. They brought in Ange, terrible, and now they're with Sean Dyche. But we cannot and mustn't forget the level of players that they have. He did say it's a team that can deliver top performances and deliver many points. They got a good result in Europe last week against Porto. I know they drew yesterday away against Sturm Graz. They've not done well in the league under Dyche, but that could change at any moment. He said there is a lot of noise outside, but they have a very experienced manager in Sean Dyche who will bring calmness to the group. Of course, when that all comes together, they'll start to rise, and that's a worry as well, especially when you look at the table last year and where Wolves were. They had 1 point less this time last year and still stayed up because of the level of players they have, because of the depth of their squad and the money that they can spend in January. And Forest also fall into that bracket, as do West Ham. So it will go, you would imagine it will go right at some point. And like the manager says, hopefully it's not this weekend. But as the manager echoes, under Sean Dyche, they're going to be very, very competitive. It's going to be a complicated game, as the manager expects. We have to be on it. I believe in order for Leeds to get results, especially on the road, we need every player to have one of their better games, nothing less than an 8 out of 10, and that's just the level of players that we have. Forest is going to be a tough game. If you could get a point, I think it's a great point. 3 is amazing, but yeah, you don't want to lose, and then have an international break, a full 10 days or so to mull over it and come back to Villa at home. So let's hope we can get some points. On the season so far, he says it's been busy at the moment. I'm not in quite a reflective mood right now. I have to be there with decisions each and every day. You have to make decisions at all times and just be positive in these moments, which is what the fuck happened there? Sorry. Oh, I've lost my thing. I've lost my notes. Just spare me one moment, folks. File, undo. I deleted it by accident, but we're back. So we have to be there with positive decisions that will positively impact the squad and get us positive results. He was asked then specifically on Dan James, I think it was from Isaac Johnson, because we've not seen anywhere close to the Dan James that we were used to. Have we, if we're being totally honest? I think Dan James will tell you that. I'll tell you that. You'll tell yourself that. And the manager will tell you that. I don't think he's been anywhere close to. My God, I'm still yawning. It's mad. I've had over 12 hours. I don't know what is going on with my body. So on Dan James ready to start, I would say he's back and ready to start a game. But we have lots of competition. We need players who can deliver end product and chip in. But we also need to find the right balance. I think that's where he plays Aronson, because he gives us that balance both defensively and offensively. I guess I know the answer to the question, but I think a lot of people would start Dan James, and I understand that. But I think based on what we've seen so far this season, Brendan Aronson's been better than Dan James. I think. Fatigue virus is doing the rounds, Joe. It can last months, yeah. Narcotics will do that to you, I think. Not much support for Metro and DCL centrally when the ball is knocked down. So this is where we, where a lot of chat has been over the last few weeks from those that are more tactically astute than myself. I know Joe's tried to mention a few things. I think the lads on the podcast will have done with Andrea and Lockie and all stats aren't we and stuff. Definitely will have touched on it. And I think we can see that. I don't think Calvert-Lewin, and this is when I was talking about it being, more of a facilitator, in that we're getting the balls up to him and he can bring them down and he does win his duels with his centre-backs. But are we getting players close enough around him to be able to take advantage of them flick-ons or them knockdowns? And yeah, it was nice to hear Isaac Johnson pose that question to him to try get some answers on that. And he said, you know, on Metro and DCL, they win it, but where's the support from when they do knock it down? And he says it's always important we speak about wingers. It's difficult to play sometimes with two wingers who both stay wide, because then it's also difficult for the central midfielders. But I wouldn't label it an overall problem. Otherwise, we wouldn't have scored 2 against West Ham or had them chances at Burnley. So he's, I guess, saying it's not that big of a deal. But I disagree with the manager there. I do think we need to try and get them as close to Calvert-Lewin as possible. Maybe that's where people are wanting us to play with the 3-5-2, so that Pirou is close enough to him. But then we do love stuff out wide as well. So it's a catch-22. I'm not a tactician, you know. I'm purely here based on emotion. I'm a passion merchant. I give my opinions, and you know, there's people that have worked in the game. There's people that have coached and stuff like that. I've played junior football, played a bit of open age, and love my football club, you know. And people try, someone say this guy, yeah, like, you're not coming here for a tactical breakdown, are you? You know what I mean? You come for what you come for, so it is what it is. If you don't like it, you can go watch someone else, kind of vibe. So yeah, but I do think there is a necessity to get the wingers or those attacking players closer to the striker. And I think had we have had the capability to play 4-2-3-1, I think we would see that more in certain games, especially against the likes of Burnley and maybe West Ham when we were on the front foot. But we don't have the functionality to play 4-2-3-1 because the manager was not given all the tools in his arsenal, really. So that's the problem that we have. And the support is there. See Lockie and Andrea's new vid. There you go. From the eye test, it doesn't look like it. But again, these are what I'm talking about lads who understand the game better than what I do. Yeah, so how do you harness or limit the Forest energy? If I was to look at crowds or supporters that were similar to Leeds United in this league, Forest would be one of them, alongside Newcastle. That's it. For home support, Liverpool sing at the start. That's it. But I think the City Ground and Nottingham Forest is similar to Leeds in that respect, a lot like the Geordies and St James's and stuff. So they will be up for this, especially because there's a little bit of needle. There has been since a very long time. So yeah, I think Newcastle Forest. I'm not sure who else you would put in that bracket. But the manager says, first of all, we've got to enjoy the challenge. This is why you want to play football games. Home game at Ellen Road is second to none. But the second best scenario is a hostile away ground. Big up, man. Thank you for that. The second best scenario is a hostile away ground to get you going and motivated. The manager said it's important that we enjoy the challenge and are not scared. We need to show steel, and I will back my squad that they will enjoy this challenge that we'll face on Sunday. So I agree. But it's going to be up there. He was asked about the fixture list coming up, which I think has got a lot of people's heads in a tailspin. Look, we're not going to go through that run of fixtures that we spoke about without picking up points. I just don't see it. City fans are not there, Claire. Come on now. The empty ad. Tough fixture list coming up. He said, look, I know we face Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool. I say, why can't we get points there? We have to. Chelsea at home. Why not? We beat them in the Carabao Cup. We beat them in the Carabao. No, we didn't. But Mateo Joseph scored 2 against them. Did we beat them? I can't remember. I just remember the only reason that's etched on my memory is because of the Mateo Joseph 2 goals against Chelsea, which meant he's the best striker in the world. But yeah, why can't we beat Liverpool? Liverpool lost 4 on the spin. Carter, Sunderland are up there as well. How can I forget? Of course. Yeah, we got beat on pens, sorry. Sunderland are that club as well. So Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, we lost 3-2. It wasn't on pens. There you go. My memory is so bad. So Man City away, that'll be tough. But Chelsea and Liverpool, why not? Why not? And like you said there, Patrick Lee, any team on their day can be beaten. This is why we take part in the Premier League, and this is what the manager said. This is why we want to be in the Premier League, to face teams like this on a regular basis, right? He said it's not like you just lose against the top 6 and then, win against newly promoted teams, because it doesn't work like that. It's not how the cookie crumbles, and he's right. And he did say Forest would be one of the most difficult fixtures before a ball was kicked. Agreed. And that's changed now, just due to the start. But that doesn't mean at any one moment they can, turn it on. Kieran Greenan says, are we to write off the top 6 for getting points? A lot to be said for parking the bus. Yeah, no, I don't think we should write them off. I don't think we should write them off. Why can't we get a result against them? Raucous crowds, Ellen Road. Come on now. He said, Forest have had a difficult start to the season. You take each and every game like this. Of course, I want points, but so does Sean Dyche and all the other managers. Everything easier if you win 3 points, but if not easier, you've just got to keep going on to the next. He was asked about his squad makeup. And this is where he spoke specifically on age range and why he wanted certain players who had played at a certain level of a certain age, because he needed to know players that wouldn't go under, after a few losses. That's why you signed the likes of Sean Longstaff, those players that have been there, done it. Sean Longstaff's been in a relegation battle. Sean Longstaff's competed in the Champions League. There are peaks and troughs during a season. Players that have experience of this can shed light on that and say, you know what? Yeah, we've lost a few games, but we belong. Who can forget the huddle that Sean Longstaff had with his players against Bournemouth, saying, listen, don't be scared. We belong at this level. So that's why he went for a certain profile and age range of players. You have to make sure that you get used to losing games, because as a newly promoted side, we didn't lose many games. We got 190 points across 2 seasons. You bring in certain characters that when you do get humbled and beaten, like Arsenal, Brighton, you don't get embarrassed. You are self-critical, but it doesn't make you go under. He said, I wanted to sign characters who know the top level and know the difficult away grounds. Sean Longstaff's the perfect embodiment of that. So yeah, he signed a good group of players. I think, listen, the quality at times may be nowhere near the level of some of our opposition, but they've been there, done that, and wore the t-shirt. That's why I said at the time, and I think pound for pound, it's been the best signing. Granit Xhaka was a absolute amazing signing for Sunderland, and so it's proved to be. And that's what, we have something similar in Sean Longstaff. And then he was asked about being, the relegation zone. And this is something that I've maintained, that if we are out of the relegation zone by January, he's done an amazing job and he needs backing. And he did say, look, it's good. If you ask me, I didn't expect this. I would have expected us by now to have been below the line at one point, but we haven't. So with this group, I believe we can get enough points to stay in the division. So do I. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be a slog, because the personnel are not as good as the rest of the division. But I think as press conferences go, I thought he was pretty solid. I thought he did a good job. He never says too much. He keeps everyone's feet firmly on the ground. Sometimes it frustrates people that maybe he's not as, out there and stuff. And then, well, I know he frustrates people. I know he frustrates people in the fan base, in the content creation space. I know this firsthand. But for me, I'm pretty chill with him. But it's because I rate the manager. I like him, and I think he's doing a good job. So we'll wait and see what transpires now. As for content over the weekend, I will be doing Tottenham Man United because it's a big game. I like the look of that. I will be doing West Ham versus Burnley because, of course, that's going to have a big bearing on us. Do we want Burnley to win that? Do we want Burnley to win that game? Potentially. I'll leave that then, and then on the Sunday we'll do Brentford. Sorry, no, we'll do Forest versus Leeds, and then we'll do City versus Liverpool because that's a big game. But yeah, I think that's it. I've got a meeting later on 6, and then a meeting. But I'm tired, man. Best result is a draw. Yeah, that's probably a good point. Actually, Vega, Mr. Dodo, and Carter. It's probably a good idea that both it's a stalemate, and then Leeds can move with 3 points against Forest and give ourselves some breathing space. But yeah, interesting. It's exciting though, isn't it? It's exciting. It's football, and after this we get 10 days rest. We get 10 days rest. I literally might just take 10 days off and go missing. Just actually rest up and recuperate. I'm not sure. I know it's my son's birthday on 15th, and then my mum passed on the 16th, didn't she? So that's like a celebration and a thing of life, I guess. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I think. But where my heart on my sleeve, it is what it is. Nana napping coming, yeah. I'm gonna find. I started to watch The Witcher, but I just don't know. Yeah, restore, recuperate. Big up to Chris Richmond, member for 30 months now. That's a hell of a long time, mate. 3-0, the big 3-0. I remember my 30th. My 30th was I actually spent it at Ellen Road. I was with Amy, Sean, and his dad, and we watched a game in the like when you pay for the corporate stuff. Yeah, so understand Liverpool have presented an offer of 65 million for Semenyo, which was decent with Kabul, but it was the only reason it was decent. I don't know. Maybe that's something we'll look to do and look to bring back. It's hard, though, isn't it? It's finding the time, and as you know, the last couple of months for me haven't been the best. But we'll come back stronger. The comeback is stronger than the fall, is what they say, I believe. I think we will be there. But listen, do me a favor, smash me a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. Try to stay positive. Because that's all you have, right? In these moments, that's all we have. Because if we lose at the weekend, it's gonna be rough. Hopefully we can get at least a point. Yeah. So we'll have a wait and see. But yeah, listen, smash me a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. And I'll see you on the other side. Peace out. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Oh, wrong button. Press the wrong button. Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. Mad thing happened to me in therapy, I don't want to because I don't want it to take the power away, but it was big. It was a big moment for me on yesterday. How it transpired. Different flashpoints in my life. I mean, eyes closed and just like boom, 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 boom. I went to 4 different flashpoints in my mind during my life when a similar thing had happened, and I just cried, and it was mad, bro. It was mad, you know. Anyway, love for the love. Enjoy your day. Thanks for everyone that's super chatted and supported and liked and just been here. It's all good. Anyway, peace out, man. Leeds are going to win at the weekend. Fucking get it.